Session, Raj, requesting you to felicitate our esteemed guests. As we approach the last peg of our event, we will take a cinematic journey towards the next session, Pitch Perfect, carving a niche by navigating multiple languages. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to the very talented actor, Pooja Hegde.
Correct this
I have
huge,
India
huge
Today-
mistake. Sorry, I'll take over. Sonal, we need to play Arabic Kuthu, guys. We are in Chennai and we have to play Arabic Kuthu because that's what Pooja Hegde went viral with, created a viral challenge. So we have to play that song, please. Please, Tech. No, no, Are we playing it? We can get someone from the audience to join it later on, but Pooja will do the viral step for us because this is where it all started. You must have shot the song here in Chennai. Are we going to wait a little longer or 2 seconds? Okay. I think it's kind of fitting that after a session where we spoke about stars and the sun, we speak to a pan India star, Pooja Hegde. She's truly a global citizen in many ways.
I think this was a great way to warm up because it was so cold that now it's helped me warm up.
And you have done blockbusters. I mean, done 6 back-to-back blockbusters delivered. I don't know which actor can boast of that. That deserves an applause. She's done films in Tamil, in Telugu, in Hindi, and here she is in Chennai. And I think, Pooja, first thing, not many people know this, but your film journey actually started from the city. You had you participated in Miss India. You were noticed there. And this is where your cinematic journey started. Tell us a little bit about what was it like working here in Chennai? What was the young Pooja doing here and facing the camera for the first time? Yeah.
Where do I begin? I was actually a very shy kid. I had stage fright. I sometimes still do. I think it's my Miss India training which helps me for sure. But I was kind of modeling, and I was a very lost child. So I was looking for what do I do next, because the artist in me wanted to do something more. So when the opportunity of doing my Tamil film came along, I was actually very apprehensive because I didn't think I could do it, because having not been for it, gone for any kind of acting school, or not really being part of this world, I was a little scared. And I remember talking to my mom when this film, they had approached me, and I said, I don't know if I can do it. And I think she gave me a very important lesson that day. She said, what is harm, like if she said something really funny. She said, most people pay to learn acting, but here, just think that you will go there, you'll learn something, you learn about acting. And if you don't like it, you don't need to ever do it again. You can do something else. So I think somewhere, because you're so afraid of failing, you don't want to fail forward, and that's something that changed. And I thought, what's the worst that can happen? And when I went on set, like I said, I was a very lost child. I never knew what I wanted to do all my life. I was always very confused. And I just felt at home. I felt like this is where I belong. This is what I want to do. It's a very surreal feeling. It's very what you hear people saying all the time, but it genuinely felt like that. And from there, my journey began. I had to learn a lot. Like, even technical terms were words that I was like still trying to learn. Like, I remember when the DOP, he used to say, focus. The cameraman would say, Pooja, focus. And I'm like, I'm focusing, I didn't know what he meant. So it was, or he would say, okay, 48 frames. And I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean I need to do something differently? So I had to kind of just educate myself on set, learn. It was a very interesting process. And then after that, I said, okay, now this is what I want to do. Let me further dive into it.
So you, I think, can speak multiple languages. Uh, Not many people know this. You are technically not from Karnataka. You're a Bombay girl, born and brought up in Mumbai, but you speak Tulu.
I am a Mangalorean, so we speak Tulu at home. But
Did that in any ways help you to negotiate South Tamil Telugu in any ways, or it's poles apart? And
yeah, it's a misconception actually, because people think that just because you can speak Tulu, you can speak all the South languages, but it's really not the case. Um, of course, there's a way, probably, the way your tongue rolls, or the way you say certain words, probably it might have helped with that. But I was a proper Mumbai girl, born and brought up there. My parents were born and brought up there. So it was a little challenging, but I've always loved languages. I don't think we should take languages as a barrier, because if we put our minds to something, we can always learn it. I mean, sometimes I always see kids singing a Spanish song, and I'm like, danza koduro, what does that even mean? We don't know, but if you kind of like take it upon as a challenge, it's very interesting. So of course, I feel Tamil, Tulu, sometimes I find some similarities, but when I went to Telugu, it was a whole new language for me,
You want to say something to our audience here in Chennai in
Eppadi
Tamil?
irukkinga?
Nice one.
Vanakkam.
But, this is also the industry, the South industry is also, which has seen some of the biggest female stars. You look at Sri Devi here, you look at Rekha here, they've all come from here. You are someone who's an example of, sort of working across languages. You've had Jayalalitha ji, who's also been a CM of the state. How do you see the industry, Pooja, since we are here at the India Today Women's Summit and talking about gender equity? How do you see the industry sort of doing, or industries in your case, because you'll have multiple perspectives, doing for roles for
I
for
want
women?
them all languages.
Yeah. How do you think are the filmmakers writing enough challenging, meteor parts? As someone who's worked across industries, worked with some of the biggest superstars, how do you see the balances right now?
I think we really need to definitely write more films for women. I think it's a chicken and egg story, where you sometimes you say that, but there's no audience. But until you don't make the films, how are you going to have the audience? So it's a mix of both. But I think slowly we just need to concentrate on telling stories. That's the most important thing. When I watch a film, I watch it for two reasons, right? One is because I relate to the character, and the other reason probably is because I aspire to be that character, right? And we need to just constantly tell stories, inspire people through movies, because we have that advantage, and we have that voice, which can really make a change. So I feel it's really important to tell stories of women so that to empower them. And I hope people write more stories. I think with
Are you
even
getting?
Barbie making $1
Oh,
billion
yes.
at the box office is it's a film that was written by a woman, and directed by a woman and performed by a woman. And I have to give Ryan Gosling credit for doing a role in a film like that.
Yeah, I
So
think you're touching a nerve here.
no, I mean, I think, whenever you should appreciate what someone is doing, because that probably could inspire someone else to be like, I want to be like Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah.
So in the same way, so I feel like it's very important to tell women's stories for sure.
Are you getting enough? Like, I'm just wondering, you'd speak of pan India stars, right? Most of the names that come up are largely men. And, people like you are an exception to it, who has had hits across languages. Why is it that we're not seeing that many women at the forefront leading that revolution? Is it lack of roles, or is it just?
I mean, Sridevi ma'am was also a pan India star. Rekha ma'am was a pan India star. I think this pan India word itself, now we should just get rid of it because it's becoming too common. But I think just concentrate, like I come back to telling good stories. For me, my journey of what I pan India has been very different. I've never really had like that pan India film, maybe up until Radhe Sham. But I just concentrated on doing the right work, and I worked in that particular language, became established in that particular language, and moved on. So my story is a little different from that, in terms of I genuinely think languages have a power of connecting. Like if I speak to a Gujarati in few words of Gujju, they get so excited. If I speak to someone in Tamil, they get excited, right? So I think it's just a way of connecting with people, and I've done the groundwork, and obviously audiences accepted me, loved me, they gave their verdict, and that's how it kind of became a pan India thing.
But I think what we also need to take into account is that you are truly, in a way, in an industry, in a society where we have started talking a lot about nepotism, about nepo babies, insiders, outsiders. You truly are an outsider who's struck cold here. Uh, and you've seen your share of, I think your career in many ways is of highs, a little low highs. uh, what I wanted to understand is, what for you were like the biggest takeaways? You didn't have a godfather when you started out, so was it pretty much like learning on the job in many ways? And what would you tell people who want to start out in cinema, because you've
So
managed it?
much.
Yeah, it's multi-layered.
I think just don't think about the odds. You can beat the odds. I love beating the odds. And that's why I love sports, because there's this beautiful ad which I'd seen once, which spoke about you can place your bets, but once the game begins, all bets are off, because passion, grit, determination are the things that matter. And I genuinely think that if you concentrate on why you're doing it and invest in yourself, you can truly beat the odds, because Guys, I am an example of that because
But is the industry harder for outsiders? Did you find it harder to?
It's a different set of challenges for sure. I wish, it's like sometimes you need someone to guide you that, oh, probably this is not the film for you to do at that particular point, right? Even things like, because I come from a very middle class background and very proud to come from the family that I come from. um, things like dance classes or like acting classes, I would literally be so conscious about saving my parents money. I remember when I went for Miss India, I was a complete tomboy, and I never used to apply like makeup and stuff, and I went to a store to buy makeup, and it was like I was feeling so guilty that I spent so much of my parents' money on stuff like that. And I kept telling my mom that, I'm going to repay this someday, please. So I feel like it's the investment that you have to put in yourself. It's a different thing. You need someone to guide you to take the right offers at the right time. So it's a mix of everything. Yeah. Having said that, you still can do it. If you're passionate about what you do, I feel like I landed up um, in films. I mean, I want to say design. I would like to say it's written in the stars, ma'am. I know, Subramaniam, ma'am, you said that. Uh, but I think if you had look at the telescope and like close enough somewhere, it's written in there. You said you love to look at the stars, but I think it was genuinely written in there for me to kind of be part of this industry. And the more I self-taught myself, I watched a lot of films, and I learned that I genuinely love films. I love it.
I find it hard to believe that Pooja doesn't have dancing lessons, because if you have seen Butter Boma,
no, so
you know that she can dance, right? She knows how to dance, right? Does everyone agree here? Yeah.
No, so I mean, my parents did put me in Bharatnatyam classes. People don't know that about me, but I have studied 10 years of Bharatnatyam. But of course, it's a different form of dance, and I in fact learned a very structured, it's beautiful of course, but a different kind of Bharatnatyam dance that someone doesn't know about me. So
but who wants to see Pooja do Butter Boma's iconic sex? I'm seeing some hands raised. Okay. Wow, so many of them. Can we play? But you'll have to join her, because she won't do it on her own. Who's coming now? Somebody has to join her. That's a very iconic
and it's
step.
a very like easy
step. Yeah. Who's coming? Do we have any volunteers? Okay, yeah, we do. Yeah. Can we just move on to the hook step, please? Yeah. And I've shared the links also. So we've got quite an audience. Do we have the song ready? But Bharatnatyam, huh? We had a Bharatnatyam dancer here before. Yeah. But did you enjoy the classes? Was it in Bombay only?
It was in Bombay. In fact, I genuinely enjoyed it. Like I said, I was very shy. So for me, dance was a way of expressing myself. I learned a lot about discipline from that.
And you've danced with Allu Arjun and Vijay and managed to hold your own.
I think God gives me a lot of these challenges. I've always liked dance with like Ritik, Allu Arjun, NTR. So
yeah, we should go. Yeah, that song has, I think, 1 billion views on YouTube. It's insane how many views that song has. Uh, I think, Pooja, we want to know a little bit about your fun side right now. What do you like to do when you're not on set and facing the camera? What is Pooja's idea of sort of like switching off and having a good time?
I love to watch a lot of things, films, shows. I learn. It's my way of doing my homework. I love playing games. Like I'm a gamer.
Like video games?
Yeah.
Like what sort of video games? Yeah.
Uh, so I love playing this game called Zelda.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like these games which have a story and then you have a mission, and they're quite very elaborate, the world that they've built for us. So I was obsessed with this game called Zelda. Yeah, and I think it really helps you, you know. I have a Switch, so I always play that because I feel like I can take it on set.
Also,
And
in between shots, you can
sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, when you're waiting, like part of being an actor is you have to wait a lot. So sometimes you just need to, you know, divert your mind for a bit, and it always helps.
I think a lot of people will look here and say, what's been your biggest lessons for you? It's interesting to me that your mother sort of pushed you and told you you can do this. What is the advice you'd give to acting aspirants, particularly people who want to crack it in the industry? What does it take to sustain and survive in it, Pooja?
I think it takes a lot of determination, a lot of self assurance, self talk, because at the end of the day, it's just you speaking to yourself and pumping yourself up. I would say that don't run after fame. If you're trying to just be famous, there are plenty of other ways to be famous. But it's just not that. I feel like fame for me is just a byproduct of it. But the true fun for me is actually, uh, you know, giving my heart into something. Like when I meet people and they tell me, oh, I really loved that song of yours, or that scene, or that character. For example, in Aravinda Samhita, I get a lot of compliments for my role.
And most eligible bachelor
Most
too.
eligible bachelor. So I genuinely feel so happy when people tell me things like that. I know, like, I remember my grandma was so ill and she was in the hospital, and Jigil Rani had released at that time, and she did a little bit of a dance, and after so many days of, you know, being so serious, when I saw that it brought a smile to her face, I felt like, wow, I'm so happy I do what I do because I can bring people joy. So I think it's the byproduct is fame. So don't run after that, and just constantly just talk to yourself, pump up yourself, motivate yourself, because that's who you have.
I think the other thing not many people know, I think people know, but they see in your stories that you have somehow always been the fighter. When you participated in Miss India first, you didn't.
Daddy's warrior princess, I
Yeah,
always say.
your daddy's warrior princess. You didn't struck gold. You gave it another shot. Similarly with Hindi, you came back after a time and again resurrected your career. Similarly, I mean, in Telugu, you haven't had to see that, but I'm wondering, where does this never say die attitude of Pooja come from? There have been a little few hiccups now, but we just know that you will never let it affect you, and you've never let it affect you. So where does it come from?
I don't want to say it doesn't affect me. Of course, it affects me sometimes. And I think it was Oprah Winfrey who always said that, you know, give yourself 10 minutes to cry. So I do that. And then I bounce back. I think it's seeing my mom and my dad. I think children do. Like my parents led by example, to be honest. I always saw that they never brought work stress home, which is something I wish I could do. Like I have to give credit to my dad. He never brings work stress home. And I think it's always about just coming back to why am I doing this? You know, why am I doing this? Because I love doing films, I love working. And I think as artists, you should be allowed the liberty to fail. And that's the only way that you can create something new. You know, someone was once saying that, and I completely agree, because that's when I can create something different. So I think it's failure and success are, it's been, yes, a roller coaster ride for me, but I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, and it's taught me a lot.
I think a lot of people here must be following you on Instagram, and you sort of know how to get challenges and trends going. Do you enjoy social media? Is that something like you particularly feel like karna padta hai, or do you like enjoy the merits of it? How does it work for you? A social media addict, or I have to share this hashtag and share this brand?
So the thing is, like, I try not taking pressure of aaj post karna hi hai. You know, until I don't want to say something or have to say something, I don't, put. I think obviously when I was starting, I was sometimes when I look at my old interviews, I'm like, wow, I was so free and I was so, inhibited. Is that the right word? Uninhibited. I was so uninhibited at that time because I used to not think so much. Of course, social media has, everyone has an opinion these days. Everyone has something to say. So I also like to live my life a little privately, much to the dismay of my social media team. But I only post. I think there's a lot of negativity also out there.
Yes.
And for me, it's not like I don't have down days, but if I can encourage someone and spread positivity, I'd rather do that and speak about that because there is enough negativity out there. So I think it's important for me to just keep uh, my spirits high because there are a lot of people who follow me and it probably makes their day, right?
We have only 2.5 minutes to go. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire with Pooja. You have to be honest.
Oh.
You have to be honest here, okay? So, what's a guilty pleasure?
Chocolate?
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. You have like one every day? No.
Once I start, I don't stop. That's my problem.
If you could play a female icon on the big screen, who would it be?
Maybe Rekha, ma'am.
Rekha?
Yeah, I think she's such an interesting personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What's your favorite film of hers?
Ghar was also amazing. She's done a lot of like great work.
Yeah. Your favorite film of all time?
That's a tricky one because I have so many, and every time I watch something, I really get inspired. But I don't know, maybe 2001 Space Odyssey.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
loved it.
This is what shows you're a nerd. Huh? You're a full geek. She's chosen, ma'am. She's chosen 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick.
I don't know if you'll have seen it. So I think it was a film that was way ahead of its time. Like I watched it recently, and I was like in awe of how did they do this back then? How did he do it? How did he think of these shots? So
I know you're a fan of Oppenheimer too,
Yes,
as much
I
as you
am.
loved Barbie, but yeah.
Yeah.
Current earworm. What's playing on your playlist? What's top on it?
I think because of the Grammys, flowers.
Flowers
Yeah,
from Miley
it's Miley
Cyrus.
Cyrus. It's
Yeah.
stuck in my head. Yeah.
One thing you love most about Chennai?
Mysore Pak. I love that, and I love I genuinely had a great time shooting with, with my cast and crew of Beast. So whenever I come here, we always catch up.
Catch up.
So the people, yeah.
If you weren't an actress, what would you be?
Like I said, I was a very lost child. I floated all my life, but something interesting, creative. I couldn't do like a 9 to 5. I always saw myself traveling. So maybe a photographer or something to do with fashion.
Fashion.
Yeah, I'd actually joined a fashion school, got admission, and then I went back and I told them, can I, start from next year so that I can finish my BCom and, simultaneously then I can do my fashion course and then the 1 year in London. And in that 1 year, my entire life changed.
I was going to ask you an actor you'd like to work with. I know you've worked with some of the biggest actors, but if you were to work in an actress, if you was to do like a 2-star film, a 2-superstar actress, who would it be?
Actress.
Oh. I'm spinning it because we're at the Women's Summit and
Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah. Do you have followed her career, like the work that she's done?
I have.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tabu ma'am also.
Mm,
I
true.
worked with her shortly during Alavaikunta Paramlo, and I just love her vibe.
What's one talent that you have that not many people know of, that perhaps here in the audience not many know?
That I was a trained classical dancer. I don't
That's
think in
true.
my films I've ever done that. So that's something I would love to do.
Yeah. A blockbuster or a national award? You've already got a lot of blockbusters. So should I expect?
So are you hinting, will the national award for me? But a blockbuster that gives me the national award.
Fair
Yeah.
point.
I would like the mass in the audience to give me that award, get me that national award.
Yeah, we should, right? Maybe we can will it here for Pooja. How would you like to be remembered, Pooja?
Has being real.
Real?
Yeah,
Yeah.
real.
And since
I think just real, and a warrior is also great.
yeah, that's you,
Yeah.
daddy's warrior princess, as
Yes.
they say. Uh, and I think a lot of people here want to know what's been the experience of working with like some of these biggest superstars, including Vijay, who's like a legend here. But yeah, in one line, what was it like working with Vijay?
It's very easy
Easy.
and chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Allu Arjun?
You have to constantly think and innovate. Yeah.
Prabhas?
He's a foodie, so maybe maintaining your diet while you're working with him.
And lastly, since your last co-star, Salman Khan.
Oh, that's another person you have to like. I think no matter how much you prepare, that was my biggest learning. When you go on set, the more if you do something more impromptu, that will probably be the take that's approved.
That's approved.
Yeah.
I think we have to give a huge round of applause to Pooja. She's been so candid and shared her journey. And I think it's but obvious that we end the session with truly proving her pan India star credentials. We've done a
But
Tamil.
listen, this game that you played with me,
Huh?
you have to play with the South Stars.
Yeah.
I would love to see the male South Stars answer these questions.
True. They never get asked this, right?
They don't. Yeah, so you're going to do that.
I am going to do
and
that.
send
Pakka.
me the link.
Pakka. Done. We played a Tamil song. We've played a Telugu song. But obviously we play a Hindi song. Now to actually show that Pooja is truly
Listen.
Yeah, the latest one from Kisi Ka Bhai, Kisi Ka Jaan, Kisi Ki Jaan. Sharing Tamil, Telugu, sharing so much insight about your journey. And I hope you had a good time. I know you've got your share of Mysore Pak. You made sure you've got that. She's got it from Sri Krishna.
It's my loot. I'm taking it back to Mumbai.
If you want to win over Pooja Hegde, that's what you need to do. Go to Sri Krishna Sweets and get Mysore Pak.
I just had a little bit before coming on stage today. Some courage.
Thank you so much, everyone. A round of applause for Pooja.
Thank you.
So that was an engaging session. Yeah. So we have a very young fan of Pooja waiting for us here since morning. Kushmeen, can I have you on stage, please? No, Ranjit.
You know, kids are like, I have to say this. I really want to do something for kids because I feel so many of my fans are like just children. In fact, I got Beast because my director's son was a very big fan of me. So nowadays, whenever I meet people, every time they say, my child's a very big, son's a big fan of yours and all. And then they bring in these tiny tots and I'm like, okay. And then the other day I met a director and he said, my son wants to come and meet you. I said, of course, sure. So he said, if you can wait for some time. So I waited and I was expecting to see a child and it was a teenager. And I was like, oh my God, thank God for having this demographic too. But definitely need to do something for these little tots.
May I request India Today's managing editor, Sahaya Ranjit, to come up on stage for the felicitation ceremony. Pooja, just please be on the stage for a second. Thanks a lot, Pooja. It was wonderful having you here and appreciate your time. And with this, India Today Women's Summit Tamil Nadu comes to a close. But before we proceed, I would like to express my gratitude to our honored guests, our speakers, and of course, our wonderful audience for taking out the time to be here today. Let's also take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. The event's co-sponsor is Anuj Tiles and associate sponsor are